Hi guys, and welcome back to this video where we look at how to provision an Amazon VPC using Terraform. So in the previous video we looked at setting up the file structure as well as setting up the required provider, which is in this case AWS, and then we passed it some configuration in terms of the region and the profile that we're going to be using to deploy the VPC infrastructure. In this particular video, we're going to look at the configuration around the VPC, so things like the variable names, as well as setting up, the availability names that we will use, and that's something that we will do in the data.tf file, and then we'll continue from there. So in here, I'm going to start off with the variables. So the first one is going to be the VPC name. It's going to have a default of I'll say demo VPC in this case, but it'll have a type of string, right? Then the next one is going to be the region. Okay, we could query that from AWS, but I think for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to say string, and then I'm going to give it a default of EU West 2 as we did in our provider. Then we're going to have some tags which will have a type of object, and in there I'm just going to have for now just the owner, which will be a string, and the environment, which will also be a string. But I'll also, just like I did in the other ones, I'm going to have a default where the owner, I'll just say myself now, and then the environment will be, I'll say dev, right? And then the last variable that we're going to have is a VPC CIDR, which will also be of type string and have a default of 10.0.0.0/16. Right, cool. This is all the variables we do need, and so now I'm going to jump into the data.tf file, and remember here what we want to do is essentially get all the availability zones within the region that we're in, right? So I'm just going to call it available. That's all we're doing here. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to move into the locals file, and in the locals file I'm going to have AZs, right? Because I'm trying to try and the data that we get back in terms of the availability zones, we're going to try and format it in a way that's easier to work with, right? So I'm going to use the slice method, and I'm going to say data dot AWS availability zones dot available, and I want the names. Okay, and then I'm going to splice them starting at index 0, ending at index 3, right? And that should format them nicely. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, I think I might just do this in the next video because this one is getting long. Okay, so in the next video we're going to start with getting the module set up. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.